In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm Emanuel Rose, and today I have a real treat for you. We get a chance to speak with Yana Tornoe, who's a powerhouse in the digital marketing world. Yana is a strategic advisor and entrepreneur who's been at the forefront of integrating AI into business strategies for a while now, for probably over a decade. With her extensive experience in digital marketing and her knack for innovation, Yana's insights are going to blow your mind. Get ready to dive deep into how AI is reshaping our industry and learn some game-changing strategies. Thanks for joining me, and welcome to the show, Yana.
Thanks for having me, Emanuel.
You betcha. Well, it's great to meet you and have you on the show this morning. You have been working in AI field for a while now, and I'm wondering what you're seeing today that you're most excited about for us as marketers going forward for 2025.
I think in 2025 we are gonna see a lot of the work we used to do being automated. I think it was a lot of the use cases we had in 2023, 2024 were more gimmicky, very assisted work. But in 2025, we're really going to get to reap the fruits of all the advancement of the technology. We're going to see much more of complete workflows being executed by the AI completely independently, and have the marketers free their hands for more strategic work, for more add their expertise essentially on top of the workflow versus them trying to manage a lot of busy work, and the time to do strategic and expert work is shrink down to the 10% or so.
Gotcha. And for somebody who's listening who doesn't have a workflow automation AI agent or AI bot, how do they find the piece of software that's no code or low code that they can use to leverage and get into that kind of automation that you're talking about? You got any recommendations for us?
Concrete recommendation, I really think that people should get started with just ChatGPT at the moment. Like there's a lot of but the GPT agents, so it's going to be a really good idea to upgrade their account to be able to have access to these more specific GPTs and have more of the agentic capabilities there, where you can essentially instruct the GPT to do a complete market research or complete SEO workflow versus the standard GPT where you're still prompting it for each and every step.
Oh yeah, so leverage what's already been created in chat by what the machines have learned.
Absolutely. I think there's going to be a lot of players, a lot of specific workflows. One of the things that I'm very excited about is to see how we can create more of a personalized experience at scale. So one of the things we've been playing out in my company is how can we leverage input that the users are giving us and create an automated yet personalized message to them. So we're creating this machine where we are taking into consideration what are the user actions within the app, what are some of the answers they're giving to the survey and their use case, and combining these to create an automated message yet personalized based on their actual activity and their actual answers, to reach out to them and say, hey, it sounds like you're looking to solve XYZ as a problem, quoting their use case.
Yep.
And you're currently stuck at this point, which will be behavior-based signal, and deliver that message that was inherently human-based, like human in the loop, where you had to have somebody on the team compile the insights from the different systems of record, from the analytics, from the other systems of record, and try to create that workflow. Now you can just fully automate it by combining these workflows, enrichments in Clay, List, and other tools like that.
Yeah, I love that. And I know that from the side of me that's the shopper online, I wish that this was happening quicker so that the emails that I get back from, if I abandon my cart or I just do some research, that it's more personalized versus, hey, we saw you were on the site, come back, and that's actually helping to solve what I was there for. And then also that when they send me an email that like, hey, come back and get free shipping, that code actually works when you go through and try to do it.
I think that here's where we still need human in the loop to really really do a good job with sending the valid code, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that the time that the end user is interacting with our material is well spent for them and not wasting their time. What are some of the misconceptions that you're seeing in AI when you're talking to marketers and business owners and people who are just starting to get into using these tools?
I think that the main experience people have had with AI right now is content, right? Like either through the first experience, like spell check, Grammarly, things like that, and then upgrading it to full-blown content creation. And I don't think that necessarily people had a good experience, especially in the previous versions when you're talking about website copy and so on. Like there's a lot of generic formulations that the AI is using.
Sure.
And it has been off-putting for people. So I think that people who tried it in the craze of AI in 2023, maybe even played a little bit in 2024, could have given up on it by now and claimed it as irrelevant to the content creation process.
Yep.
And I see that this can be limiting for a lot of marketers to really reap the benefits of this technology, because with each and every update, that technology evolves tremendously. The ability to create content content creation is the main use case of AI as of
Yep.
right now. That's where it really excels. But where people are not necessarily leveraging the best of capabilities is if they use the default settings, where they're simply saying, "Oh, here is the topic. Generate me a blog post." Of course, that blog post is going to be very lacking personality, lacking brand relevance,
super generic with a weak
generic
prompt like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I think that I would urge marketers who played with the technology, even last year, 2024, not to give up on the technology, but start deepening their understanding of how to prompt the technology to get better results, and get back, keep on iterating, keep on trying to leverage as much as they can. And I can give a concrete example of something I've been doing. So for blog post creation, concretely, and content creation, I've had also experience where the content was very generic. I didn't want it. It didn't sound on brand. I didn't want to publish such content.
Sure.
But what I figured out as workflow is that if I'm leveraging a customer conversation that was recorded and transcribed, and I then run the transcription across multiple transcription. I run them through the AI and say, hey, organize the insights, the commonalities of use cases, how are people talking about the pain points, and so on. So I extract that master sheet of wording that is directly extracted from how customers are talking about the pain points in their experiences. Then I inject that into the AI. I inject a topic and say, hey, I want to talk about this aspect of the pain point. I want to use this concrete research that I found that supports the overall thesis, or it's more factual and science-based. And I want to use the input from my customer interviews, which is already organized in pain points and so on. And then I instruct it to stick to specific. Make it as specific as possible, include quotes both from the research and from the user interviews. I'm seeing great results with that. Honestly, it's doing pretty good job because it has the capability of analyzing data very superiorly, organizing and extracting insights. It is doing a pretty good job. So I'm gonna urge people to leverage various assets that they are right now creating in their company, either through customer conversations or presentations or other formats where they are using expert knowledge, and that use that expert knowledge to train the model and then turn it into an asset as a blog post or so.
Yeah, I love that. I love that sequencing and using the what really these GPTs are best at right now is churning this big amount of information that it would take us days or weeks to do, and then helping you solve a very specific problem. And I think that's an interesting workflow. And I'd love to know a little bit about what your philosophy is around prompting and prompt writing, and how you approach a new project and the prompts that you start with to start a process like that.
I think I am not very scientific and organized in my prompting.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
more
okay.
experimental.
I'm not either.
I'm more experimental. Like, I gotta see the results. I'm gonna start actually quite wide to see what it generates. And then I'm gonna be like, okay, like we are completely off on these aspects of it. Like, let's say if it's with the examples of creating a blog post, I'm gonna see that the research that it's basing it on is very generic. So I'm actually gonna go to Harvard Business Review, screen a few articles myself, and then go back and say, use these articles as the basis for the research. Use the quotes from them. So I start very generic to see what it's gonna produce by default, and then keep on iterating on it. I've had a hard time getting it to format things the way that I want to. So I've had an experience where I would find an example of a good formatting and then feed that. So once I generate the content the way I want it, or with the right tone of voice, with the right content, then I also find examples of the format. So I'm actually going to be quite specific per step and prompt it per activity. So here is the research. I want you to use this research as the basis for the analysis. Oh, here is the customer interviews. Use quotes from them. And here is the format that I want you to achieve. So I'm gonna be using a lot of examples in order to get the results I want, because I have had an experience where it will be off. It's still based on everybody's knowledge, everybody's input out there. So if you really want to get it to specifics, and it doesn't work like if I simultaneously ask, use this research and format it in this way, it starts getting blurry. Like, the more commands you prompt simultaneously, the less of a good job it does per the specific activity. So I'm just gonna chunk it. I'm gonna let it redo the work from scratch and say, okay, you generated this article, I want you to leave out this paragraph and that paragraph, and then in the next sentence say, okay, now format it in this and that way.
Yeah, I like that, where you're using it very specifically for a blog post, and then you have a structure that you're developing and asking it to follow, complete with references that you would like it to refer to.
And it is more like this is where we are talking still about the assisted work, like
Right.
AI being your assistant, and you're still the human expert that is extracting through that technology a more a better workflow, enhanced productivity. But we are still not at the level where we're seeing the agentic capabilities, which will be where it can by itself chunk out these pieces of workflow, like these different steps, and execute them independently. And I'm experimental about this part, yet I haven't seen the good results with it. So
Right.
I'm still like I'm not giving up on the technology. And I really tell people just keep on going, try it. Like that week it didn't work for you, but maybe next week they already fixed it.
Yeah,
With all the
exactly.
model innovations that are happening, things change so fast. So you just
Yeah,
have to keep believing that it's gonna get to that stage.
it's very dynamic, and even this workflow that you talked about, that could end up being one of the Chat GPT options at some point. That you just start to plug in keywords and target audience and
Absolutely.
industry, right? And then it just is going to
Absolutely.
start producing
I
those types
think
of.
I think as you're saying, in 2025 we're gonna see the AIs being much more integrated. Like let's say a general model like ChatGPT, they're doubling down on a lot of integration. So as they build their integrations, let's say with Google Analytics, you're
Yep.
gonna be able to plug in directly your data from Google Analytics into your chat your model, your chat
Yep.
GPT, and you're gonna be able to prompt based on that, or maybe even have a full agentic capability there and say, hey, execute me with that target segment, execute me with that budget, um, Google Ads. So I'm really really excited about what the future holds. And I think that there is definitely like short term situations where we're gonna see a we're gonna see a lot of I'm sorry we're gonna see a lot of overload of information
Sure.
and generic content on the
Yep.
short term. And as brands fail, as the attention span to this type of content gets very low, as they get penalized through SEO for their generic information,
Yep.
everything is gonna get improved towards again the human expertise, the unique content, the authentic information being out there.
Yeah, I
So
love it.
stay to it, believe in your expertise, keep doubling down on it. That's what I'm trying to do, and I think it's gonna pay off on the longer term.
Well, I agree with you, and I'm curious to understand how you're integrating AI into the work that you're doing with question base. So describe that for me.
With Question Base, this is our new company. We are using AI to create a new base of knowledge within companies, because we are seeing that a lot of the knowledge is actually transferred conversationally.
Sure.
The whole notion of documenting knowledge, the librarian in the company, the librarian from ancient Egypt, these are always now distributed among all the workers in a company. And before it was like really hard to codify that knowledge. That's why you had that librarian, that knowledge manager who,
Yep.
or project manager, or somebody in charge of organizing that common know-how. uh, but now you don't need to do that. You can tap into the conversational information that is shared in conversation, is shared in chat, is shared in email, and you can transfer that knowledge to other people using AI. So what we do with Question Base is that we are on that mission of turning conversational information into a valuable database for companies that they can then reuse to train new employees, whether they're agents or they're humans, scale up that human and enterprise knowledge.
And are you able to take? I mean, in the marketing, you're saying a lot of things about Slack, but are you also able to take phone transcripts and some other outside information as well?
Great question. Yes, that is something we're working on right now. We have in beta and we're exploring. We have trained the model to work with conversational data. So that data, we are agnostic where it comes from.
Yep.
We trained it on the worst possible format, which is chat, because it's very noisy. You're
Yeah.
going to have in one sentence, you're going to have who's up for lunch. And then on next sentence, you're going to have a very valuable insight with longevity shared about certain clients. So it's a model where we had to train the model again and again to filter out signal from noise.
Yep.
So then you can apply that to conversations, which can also be a very noisy environment, and extract knowledge from Zoom calls, from recordings, from tapping the bot in the different meetings in the company, and extract the knowledge and integrate it back into the knowledge base. Imagine like essentially this perfect secretary role that is always there recording all the insights and then producing these assets for the company that can be then reused again and again.
I love it. And then on your product roadmap, will you eventually also have a customer facing interaction, or is it always just going to be the behind the scenes company interactions?
We are focused on internal knowledge.
Yep.
There is a lot of competition and a lot of companies who are trying to solve the customers to company interactions, and I think there's a lot of great breakthroughs there, especially because in that environment you're working with more repetitive questions, you're working with more repetitive use cases. So essentially that role is one of the primary use cases that initially AI was delivering return on investment on, which is I come as a first-time customer, I'm likely to have a question similar to the next first-time customer. Whereas within the internal communication, you're having way more variables of what people would ask about, what's their level of training, what's their level of expertise. But we are sticking to that problem because we see a lot of untapped opportunities, like integrating this conversational data to back in the stream of knowledge and make sure to upskill new employees or even the agents on the team to have that information and be able to conduct like tasks as good as the experts who's been there for 10 years.
Yeah, love it. And now you're focused on Slack as part of this, or will there be other ecosystems that you'll be able to plug into at some point?
Yeah, for sure. We're focused on within the year to complete our Microsoft for Teams integration. We see a lot of companies basing their primary company information on it, especially as we are moving upper market. A lot of enterprises are relying on the Microsoft ecosystem, and we're very excited about all the innovation Microsoft is doing with Copilot, and Copilot being fully integrated within already the workflows on the operational system. Like you're going to be able to extract maybe something that you and me are conversing about in that conversation. Question-based can pick it up, integrate it into the database of knowledge, and then Copilot later on can reuse that knowledge and help you create a presentation about it. Like there is a wonderful example of how the database is going to feed these assistants and agents to be able to conduct further work.
I love it. Well, this is an exciting innovation, and I hope you have a lot of success with this.
Thank you so much. We are really pushing at the fourth line, hoping that we're gonna deliver a lot of value for businesses.
Well, I have no doubt you will, and I know you're in the early part of this process. So, good luck, and I appreciate your time this morning. I appreciate your breaking down how you're using chat to do very focused, specific content development, and that process you described. So thank you very much for that insight, and I'm grateful for your time today. Thank you so much, Yana.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be of help to anybody that's struggling with these topics right now.
Yeah, and so your website is questionbase.com, and then you're also on LinkedIn, aren't you?
I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm often posting about automations and different hacks around that I'm figuring out in my daily work.
All right. Well, I'll let you get back to your daily work, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.